We live in a crossover world, and to be honest, it comes with its pros and cons. They're not as fun to drive. It limits a really sexy design, in my opinion. Fuel economy isn't as good as a crossover, and they typically cost more. Not that they cost more to make, oftentimes. It's just manufacturers feel like they can get away with charging more since it's a taller vehicle, etc. What if I told you that the market's shifting? Sedans are making a comeback, and I can't wait to live in a world where the sedan is cherished and focused upon just as much as crossovers. If you're as excited as I am for sedans to make a comeback and be more relevant than they have been in what feels like decades, hit the like button. And let's break down this article that's talking about the comeback of sedans and why automakers are reconsidering building more sedans, reintroducing more sedans into the US market after years of crossover dominance. If you guys are new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I cover automotive news. I leave here in just a couple hours to head to Nashville to drive a new Infiniti. Of course, it's a crossover. However, we'll talk about an Infiniti sedan in today's video as well, but I'll be driving the new QX65. So make sure you are subscribed, locked in. And speaking of sedans and luxury, I will be driving next month the new Lexus ES redesign, which is, you could argue that it's not a sedan anymore. Okay, it's kind of a lifted sedan thing. Anyways, let's get into this, and I can't be more excited to bring this content to you guys. It starts with the Detroit 3, which have completely abandoned sedans. However, watch my review on the new Charger. I know it was the two-door version, but the six-pack, it was amazing. It really blew me away with how impressive that vehicle drove, despite it being huge, boaty, but it looked awesome. It performed awesome. Hopefully that's putting air into the fires of the competition from Ford and General Motors and whoever else to build fun to drive sedans. Soaring vehicle prices is a reason why we need more affordable cars, more affordable sedans. But look at this. I had no idea this was going on right now. There are proposed fuel economy rules that would categorize crossovers as cars instead of light trucks. And this is helping sedans look attractive again. It won't stop with sedans if this happens. It's not just the sedan, it's wagons too, because wagons are not considered crossovers for whatever reason, unless it has a certain ground clearance or approach angle or whatever it is that qualifies them as a crossover or a light truck instead of a sedan. Okay, so think not only more sedans, but also the derivatives of a sedan, which is a wagon. I love wagons and hatchbacks. I love hatchbacks. I also love sedans and coupes. Of course, they're all more fun to drive typically than your average crossover. And they get better fuel economy and they cost less, like I mentioned. So sedans, if this goes through, the sedan and the umbrella that is sedan, okay, could see a massive revival. Okay, General Motors plans to introduce a Buick sedan. Now, I talked about this and made a video on it. Buick is one of the most irrelevant car brands in America. But Buick will be getting on the new Camaro and the new CT5's assembly lines, essentially. And we're going to have a Buick that is rear-wheel drive biased and could offer V6 turbos like the old GNX, Grand National. We could have V8s. And a Buick, like things of beauty in the past 8 cylinders of Buick's heritage. This could be a revival of Buick in general, because right now they have a bunch of South Korean or Chinese-made crossovers. There's one crossover that they have is made in America, but the rest of them are made in Asia. Stellantis, whose chief designer says he's gotten tired of SUVs, they're also considering a new car that would cost less than $30,000. Yes, the market doesn't have that much money anymore. Or here's the thing, the people that don't have $50,000 to spend on a crossover, they just want some maybe $20,000 to $30,000 on a sedan, a hatchback, something that's more affordable and better fuel economy. Ford Motor CEO Mr. Farley himself said never say never when talking about sedans. My first car ever was a Ford Mercury. You could call Mercury Sable. That was my first car. All right. And we've had Ford Escorts in the past. We've had Focuses. We've had, of course, the big dog, the Taurus, which obviously my Sable was a Taurus, just reskinned. And let's not forget about the Crown Vic. Ford and sedans is, well, it's a part of their heritage. Absolutely. Infiniti, as I just mentioned, Infiniti will enter the market in 2027 with the new Q F-50, which is a rebadge of the new Skyline. I cannot wait for this. Manual transmission, twin turbo V6. Think of it as a sedan version of the Z. Sounds good to me. Okay, with more traditional and more heritage focused Skyline styling. If you missed that video on the Skyline, make sure to check it out. Okay, so that is coming in 2027. Will it have all-wheel drive? I'm sure in certain trims. Will it have automatic? I'm sure in most trims. But just to get a little excitement with a manual transmission and a high-performance sedan from Infiniti is exciting. Sedans from Toyota and Honda were among the most strongest performing vehicles in the U.S. during the first quarter, while small crossovers lost share. That's interesting. Why have small crossovers lost share? I feel like there's a lot of small crossovers doing quite well, but you have things like the Kia Soul that are no longer available. Okay, so this talks about how no one's expecting sedans to overtake crossovers. I don't expect that, but the transaction prices across the industry, they continue to rise, and analysts see a sizable market for sedans that's becoming underserved, right? That makes sense. SUVs and crossovers account for almost 60% of the new vehicle market in 2025, outselling sedans 3-1. You know what? That's not that bad for sedans. It feels like it's like 10-1 with how many versions of crossovers there are versus available models of sedans. Sedans dwindled from 42% in the market in 2000 to fewer than 20% sold currently. Ford, GM, Chrysler are happy to produce lots of crossovers with high margins, especially since 2020. And the Asian competitors, as I'll show you in a little bit, stayed in the sedan game, have upped their light truck offerings to take advantage of the shift in demand. But I made a graph here, okay, good old spreadsheet, about as basic as it gets. Camry's the king of sedans, and there's no one close. Okay, the closest is actually its little brother, the Corolla. And the Corolla is, man, is it like long in its life. The Camry is full hybrid now, and you can get a Camry LE, which is my favorite Camry. Okay, it's the most comfortable, even though it's still not very comfortable. But yeah, 62 miles per gallon in my testing. I know it's absurd, but the Camry is the best sedan buy in America. It's not the most fun car, but it's just like, it's really good. It's a really good and it embodies a lot of old school Lexus vibes to it. Okay, so Corolla in there as well. Not my favorite. I'd pick a Civic over, especially Civic Hybrid, any day of the week. Accord, it's more luxury than a Camry, but it's too darn expensive in the hybrid trims. The Kia K4, I just reviewed the hatchback. Hatchback is great. If it had a hybrid, it would be like no brainer over the Civic Hybrid, but it's still good. It's still fun. It's beautiful, and it has lots of space. The Sentra, I haven't reviewed the new one. I have briefly driven it. Again, like most Nissans, it's one e-Power hybrid system away from being like best in class. So I just drove the Kicks. Okay, the Kicks is fantastic, but it's really held back by its ride quality, but mainly its powertrain. Okay, Elantra, good car. The Elantra Hybrid is the king of fuel economy. I got 65 miles per gallon with the Elantra Hybrid. Absolutely ridiculous. The Model 3 is shrinking. Most of these numbers, though, guys, most of these numbers here, other than the Model 3, are either about neutral or up. Some of them up double digits. So Altima hanging in there, Kia K5 and the Sonata hanging in there as well. All right, so let's get back to the sedan breakdown. Sedan sales show signs of life. Camry up 11%. Honda is up 22% with the Accord. K5 up about 20%. And this is the first time since 2017 since the Camry beat the RAV4 in sales. Well, it's a short-term victory because the RAV4 is switching over from the previous generation and multiple factories around the world to the new generation. The Camry, Accord, and K5 all have starting prices around $30,000. The market, you can offer a lot less right now. It's a buyer's market right now. You can offer $2, $3, $4, $5,000, sometimes more off of a sedan right now. Average new vehicle price is still over $50,000 when these larger sedans start under $30,000. Auto executives have noticed the sedan market is very vibrant, said Ford's Farley at the Detroit Auto Show in January. It's not that there isn't market there. It's just that we couldn't find a way to compete and be profitable. But now he says, well, we may find a way to do that. So could this be the return of the Taurus? The Focus? I mean, to be honest, the Focus makes the most sense and come out with fun to drive versions of the Focus again, especially Focus hatchback, but we'll see. Design innovation could help sedans stand out. Stellantis design chief Ralph Gillis said he has become fatigued with SUVs. I think many of us have. A lot of people are asking for sedans. He said, young designers want hatchbacks like the GTI of the 1980s. They want a personal car that's fun to drive and easy to park. It's making us rethink different form factors, and crossovers have started to look kind of boring to a subset of U.S. customers who want more modern, stylish ride, says Stephanie Brindley. I might see her today or tomorrow if she's at this Infinity event. With sedans, you have more opportunity for creating an expressive design than you do with a utility vehicle. Yes, like car culture. You show up to any car show, what's being showed there? Sedans and coupes. How many people are customizing their crossovers and throwing them into a car show? It's just not the same thing. Okay, people want something that's fun to drive, something that's fun to make their own. And most of the time, that rules crossovers out. I would rather customize a freaking minivan or any van over most crossovers. The most of the customization you get from crossovers is not from crossovers. It's you go up to real SUVs body on frame where you can lift them, put tires on them, do roof racks. You can't really do that with a crossover. They're not built for that. They're not stout enough to handle that sort of modification. Okay. Amid the rows of crossovers on dealership lots, a sleek sedan could help a brand stand out. Look at the Charger. Okay. I mean, what would Dodge be without the Charger? All right. Camry is awesome right now. And then the new Corolla, if you've seen the new Corolla design, it's amazing. Let's see here. And without the Type R and the Type S in the Integra world, and without the SI, I mean, Honda wouldn't have a lot of excitement in their brand. They just wouldn't, at least here in America. I know that we have the new Honda Pocket Bulldog EV. I already forget its name. I'll show it on the screen. That is available in many places now in Japan and the UK. That gets me excited, even though it's a full EV, but that's a cool little electric hot hatch to go back to the City Turbo reference. All right. Anyways, the car is unapologetic and unexpected since Thiago Castro. He was head of Infinity not that long ago. I last saw him in around Nashville. Why Nashville is important for Nissan? That's where their headquarters are. I saw him in December. Okay, Nissan's U.S. marketing and sales chief. It's an opportunity to connect back to the roots of the brand. And people love retro right now. That's why the new Skyline is going to be so retro design focused with afterburner taillights, the old cursive script on that car. Hopefully there's a way for Infinity buyers to get those logos and the Skyline logo as well, that cool S, to be put on the new Infiniti Q50. But anyways, we want more sedans. We want nostalgia. We want something that's more fun, more affordable, and more efficient. So reclassifying crossovers as cars could encourage more sales. The Trump administration in December proposed loosening federal rules to require an average of 34.5 miles per gallon across 31 models, 2031 specifically, down significantly from Biden rules were 50.4 miles per gallon on average around that same time period. Crucially, the proposal would reclassify many crossovers and small SUVs as passenger cars instead of light trucks, making them subject to higher standards. That would reduce most manufacturers' average fuel economy ratings as sedans could help offset the change. So I just wanted to share this. I hope you guys appreciated this content, and stay tuned for my QX65 driving impressions, the new Lexus ES driving impressions. I will be getting the new Prelude. I haven't driven the Prelude hybrid yet, and it is arriving tomorrow. So I can't wait to test it with fuel economy, acceleration, because, well, that's been a hot subject for that car. So stay tuned for my impressions. I've been with the car. I haven't driven it yet. So this will be a fun at-home review, a week-long review with the new Prelude. And I'll have something else as well from the other press company. I just don't know what at this point. So thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Love the ones around you, and have the best day ever. I truly mean that. I appreciate you guys. Without you, I wouldn't be living my dream. So super duper thanks. I got to cut this off, get on a plane, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.